Hi there. Thank you for joining me. Today we're going to be going through the journal I made for the February Find and Finish Junk Journal Challenge with Dear Julie Julie. We needed 14 things that all start with an F, and then we needed to make 8 elements. And then we could also we needed 4 form pages like ledger, grid, map, and then 5 fancy digitals, and then the 14 things and the 8 elements, and I'll be pointing them out as I go through it. So we had to have a fabric cover, and I quilted this. I just used two sides of fabric and then batting in between, and then I just randomly scrolly stitched to make it quilted. Okay. My closure is just a gold gem brad. And let's see, which way does it wrap? It goes that way. There, it goes that way. I couldn't tell. I thought, did I tie that? So anyway, I just, I tied it there, and then to wrap it around, and then just to circle that brad is the closure. Okay? And I bound it with blush pink cotton thread. This is cotton trim. The back's the same. I didn't put anything on the front or the back. The inside cover is the same. I didn't put anything on that. It's a soft cover. One thing we needed was a fabric flip and pocket. So here's my fabric flip. I have 2 fabric pockets, one on the back. This is an element we needed. It was a flip up and a flip down, which mine, I made it, but then I decided I like it better like this. So it's really a flip down and then flip up. I did it kind of backwards. So I printed on this notebook paper. And then here are a couple of journaling cards attached with a brad, a heart brad. And then I just made a little tuck spot there. And then as little flip-flop tabs, I just used these hearts. I thought they were pretty cute. We needed a form. So this is my form, this guest check. So that's that. I'm going to set everything aside as I go. We needed what she calls a fancy folder. And I did it again out of these placemats my sister gave me. I have a whole bunch of them. Just paper placemats she got in an online auction. And I like folding them up and making folders out of them. I like folders. So what I do is I fold it in the center and then fold it up and then fold it back. Okay, so then I end up with lots of pockets. And I stitched around it, and I made this the outside cover. So these are my 2 sides of it. For this we needed, and each element that we made, like a folder or whatever, had to have 4 elements in it for 4 inserts and stuff. So here's a card. We also needed tabbed index cards. She called them file index cards, but they're just tabbed ones. I had these tabbed ones. We needed to use felt I didn't have any. I used fleece to redo the tabs, and then I just used one of my decorative punches, and then I stitched it. So that's one. So here's another one. I love this. Oh, we had to have a paper pad too. Let me show you my paper pad. I love it. This is the paper pad I used. So, turned out pretty bright. Had this bird cage in it. And then I used a piece of notebook paper on the back. Inside, in the big pockets, I made these tags. I like the colored book pages. This one, I don't know if you can tell, it's lavender. And then on the back, I used a piece of printed line paper. And we had to have a floral element. And this, this washi, which I think is just adorable, is my floral element. 5 fancy printed papers is something we had to have. So I used, they're like these. They were 8.5 by 11. And I had to trim them down. My pages are 5 by 8. We had to have something faint. So I printed this image on the back. I just think it's real pretty. It's like a brocade looking kind of image. So that was my faint. We had to have 4 flip-flops. And what that is when you open it, the first page is attached to the cover. So then it all opens together. So I printed that same brocade pattern on this notebook paper, and I stitched it. So that's one, and I have 4 just alike. Did I say we had to have something faint? Yes, I did. So here's another one. We had to have 5 of these fancy ones. We could have other pages. So I just added lined paper. We had to have fabric tabs. So that there's 4 of these. I used them on the shorter pages. More washi just to decorate. We could have 5, I believe. 4 form pages. So this is just graph paper, and then I put washi along it. We had to have a frame. So there's my frame. It was a cut apart that I just trimmed the center out of. I used it later on. We had to have a flower. So I used this die cut flower with the Jim Brad. I put this card in here with a tab. And these are just line note pages. We had to have fringe. So I added fringe to these journaling cards. I added paper on the back. There's more of the floral washi. And I made that a top tuck. Another fabric tab. I hope I don't forget any of the elements. Graph paper. This is the other flip-flop. I really like how that printing did on those lined pages. I think it turned out nice. We had to have a, folded envelope with 4 items. So I used a 6x9 clasp envelope, and then I used these ribbons got crunched just because it's okay. So I used these journaling cards, and I used the same on the back. Love those cards. So inside we had to have something fringe. So I used this burlap ribbon. It was wired actually. I cut the wire out and just took out a couple of rows. So I made 2 side tucks. One of them is this pretty image I had. And then I used newsprint paper and I stamped it for the inside. And then for the other one, I just used some of the cardstock some of the scrapbook paper out of the paper pad and just note pages. These just to fill it in because it looked blank with nothing. Love this scrapbook paper out of the paper pad with the birdhouses. I don't know if I kept enough to scan. I'm going to scan it. Again, the printed notebook pages. This is pretty paper. It's out of the, my color box scraps I always go on about. Feels vinyl. So anyway, I just made little tucks for those. I added a coloring page and got a little crumpled, I see. On the back I colored it pink and then attached a doily. Here's more of the burlap. And there's the tuck spot for the other 2 cards. There's more faint printed paper. These are just cut aparts out of the scrapbook album. Another flip-flop. Another cut apart. These we had to have something of filler, so I used gift bag, like tissue paper, because you would fill a gift bag with that. Another fabric tab. More faint. Another top tuck with fringe. Hope I don't forget anything. Let's see. There's still a lot to come up. Another flip-flop. This is just, it wasn't a required element, it's just an addition. 2 journaling cards with little tabs. This is the other half of the fabric, the file fancy folder. Is that what she called it? Fancy folder, yeah. This is green book pages with image. I've been using gold or cute ribbon for the antennae. That pretty fibrous paper I like to tear. Stitched around it. Another printing lined page image. This inside of this fabric, I just wanted, folder. It's real thin, so I just wanted to line it and then to show off that pretty edge. So I just inserted a piece of paper in there. This is my favorite. I love this. Just in this little thing, I made a little tablet with the lined paper, and I stitched it. I made this. I used this in my last red journal, but it had 3 tabs, so I went ahead and made 4 this time. And then this is more of that fibrous tape paper that I love to tear it. I have a whole thing of that. Then I had some scrapbook paper with words on it. That says flourish and grow and prosper and thrive. And we had to have something French, and this is toile. It's kind of zoomed up, but from a smaller shot, it does definitely look toile. My sister liked it. She had me make her one in purple. Okay, so I think we're doing well. This is a filled folio, and I've done stuff on here I've never done before. We had to use a file folder, so I used my file folder for this. It's got a front closure because it was pretty full. All right, let me make sure. So, okay, I don't want to miss anything. I just made a journaling card, flip. We had to have something fluffy. I got these Lomo cards, and they have the cutest animal critters on them. So this is my fluffy. And this had to have 4 inserts, so this is all just filler. Journaling card. And a card. And a card. And then, little scrap of paper. And then this was new. I'd never done this before. Making these. Actually, I chose a really tight space to make it. That's why I even had to trim these cards down because it was just so narrow. So this isn't the best place to try this. We had to have a fold element. And this, like on the printed page, it just looked like that, and it just looked like such a strong attention to the fold. So I called that my fold element. This is the inside of that frame. I cut it kind of carefully. I don't remember what kind of paper I used for this. And then I stamped the pages. So that's my fold. I just made a belly band for that. So there's my folio. I made a out of the file folder, the rest of it, I made a writing board. Because, you get to going with all this, lumpy stuff like that. It'd be hard to write on that. So, then, that's why. I've been adding writing boards to all my journals. And I usually tuck them in the back. Okay. So, let's see. Frame, I did that. Floral was the washi. Fringe was the bottom of these. File folder I showed you. Filler was the tissue paper. Fluffy was the Lomo card. French was the 12. Flower was the die cut. Faint was the printing on the back of the digitals. Felt, I used fleece. Form was this guess check. A fold was this. Burlap ribbon was my fray. The file index cards. Fabric cover. Fabric flip. Fabric tabs. Flip flop. I did 4 of those. Filled folio. That was a lot. I did that. Right here. Fancy folder is the first thing. Flip up, flip down was on the back of the guest check. And the folded envelope was the center. Okay, so I think I got everything. Can't wait to see yours when you're done. Thank you for watching. Love you, bye.